Israel has launched its largest military operation against Hezbollah since 2006. The IDF reports Operation Northern Arrows has taken out tens of thousands of rockets and drones in southern Lebanon.
Israel warned Lebanese civilians to evacuate areas held by the terror group. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also sent a message that the fight isn't with Lebanon, it's with Hezbollah. CBN's Chris Mitchell reports.
Israeli warplanes launched more than 1,600 strikes to destroy Hezbollah rocket launchers, drones, and UAVs inside southern Lebanon and the Bekaa Valley.
Essentially, we're targeting combat infrastructure that Hezbollah has been building for the past 20 years.
Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says they've taken out tens of thousands of weapons in Hezbollah's arsenal. Many of the weapons are in homes and buildings in civilian-populated areas. Multiple videos of the strikes showed secondary explosions igniting rockets, and the IDF released photos of Hezbollah rockets inside Lebanese homes. The strikes follow recent targeted attacks that decimated Hezbollah's top military leadership.
Over the course of 1 week, we can say that in many ways, Nasrallah remains alone at the top.
Nearly 500 died in Monday's wave, and some 2,000 were injured, many of them Hezbollah fighters. The IDF issued warnings to Lebanese civilians to get out of harm's way.
However, even as we called on civilians to move away from danger, we saw that Hezbollah operatives were doing the opposite and acted to prevent civilian moving safety.
Hezbollah fired hundreds of rockets as far south as Haifa, sending Israeli civilians to bomb shelters. While some rockets landed, most were intercepted by the Iron Dome. In Lebanon, thousands clogged the roads north in an exodus to escape the fighting. In a message to the Lebanese people, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel is not at war with Lebanon, but Hezbollah.
For too long, Hezbollah has been using you as human shields. It placed rockets in your living rooms and missiles in your garage. Those rockets and missiles are aimed directly at our cities, directly at our citizens. To defend our people against Hezbollah strikes, we must take out those weapons. Now, starting this morning, the IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones. Don't let Hezbollah endanger Lebanon.
The question is if and when Israel may launch a ground invasion.
Well, CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem. So, Chris, what are the future plans? Are we looking at a ground invasion against Hezbollah?
You know, a lot of people say this kind of a bombing campaign, Gordon, is actually preparing for those just conditions, right, to go into southern Lebanon. And what they are doing right now is destroying what Hezbollah has built over 20 years, as the IDF chief of staff said that. But during those 20 years, what also the IDF has been doing is spending time identifying exactly what Hezbollah was doing and actually making a 3D graph of most of the villages and buildings there. Several years ago, Gordon, I asked Benny Gantz, he was the former IDF chief of staff, about Hezbollah, and he said they had magnificent intelligence on Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. And I think right now we're seeing that intelligence in action and the possibility of a prelude to a ground invasion. But like I said, we don't know when or where, but it does seem like the IDF is preparing for that eventuality.
Well, how badly has Hezbollah been weakened by these attacks? You know, before this, people were talking that they had enough military strength to actually match one of the European nations. How badly have they been weakened?
Very much, Gordon. In fact, in just the last couple of hours, another Hezbollah leader has been eliminated inside Beirut. He's the head of Hezbollah's missile unit. And then in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Hezbollah suffer probably the worst attacks in its history. The bombing campaign right now has really eliminated maybe half of the 20-year arsenal, thousands and thousands of rockets, drones, UAVs, and then it keeps getting destroyed. Last Friday, we saw that the top leadership was eliminated and
in one strike. Before that, then there were thousands of Hezbollah fighters that were disabled, wounded, or killed in that beeper attack. So the communication is limited within Hezbollah. The morale is low. And also, Gordon, there's a big distrust right now in the leadership of Hassan Nasrallah. He was the one personally responsible for this beeper catastrophe. And now it seems like before he can recover from one blow, Israel is hitting him again. And now Israel is promising even more surprises.
Well, a surprise to me was the president of Iran coming out and saying he doesn't want a war with Israel. So is he a lone voice? Or but is this how Iran is going to react?
I think Iran is going to react that way. Also, I had heard that some of the hardliners, to sort of more extreme than the president, criticized him for that. But right now, Iran is really not reacting much at all to what's happening to its main proxy army in the region. One Lebanese analyst I was in contact with said Hezbollah is looking for support and attention at Iran's doors, but it's hardly getting any attention. Hezbollah was supposed to be Iran's insurance in case Israel attacked Iran's nuclear facilities, but now they seem to be abandoning their main ally in the region.
Well, U.S. is now sending more troops to the region. Does Israel have the Biden administration's support in this attack against Hezbollah?
Well, at least so far right now. But what we're hearing, Gordon, is that the U.S. wants to present what they say are concrete ideas to ease the crisis, and also voicing opposition to the ground invasion we're talking about, and trying to figure out a way forward, and what they're calling is an off-ramp to prevent further escalation. And that could mean that Hezbollah won't keep getting degraded and destroyed. But, Gordon, I get the sense here that Israel is really determined to finish the job, eliminate Hezbollah as a threat, and the main goal right now of this current operation is to make sure that these Israelis, tens and tens of thousands of them, can go home after the northern Israel's been subjected to maybe more than 9,000 rockets in the last 11 months.
Well, I hope Israel sticks to that plan. You look at these attacks, whether it's October 7th by Hamas or the rocket attacks from Hezbollah, both of which unprovoked and literally coming out of the blue. You look at that and say, well, how can a nation state exist and if you have these continual battles along your borders and your civilian population isn't safe in their own homes? So, of course, Hamas has to be eliminated. Of course, Hezbollah has to be eliminated. In that, though, it looks like Israel is really suffering on the world stage. The narrative doesn't seem to be they're justified in these wars. The narrative seems to be, well, it's okay to fight all you want within your own borders, but when you attack across a border, we're going to get involved. So the UN General Assembly, it's meeting this week. Does Benjamin Netanyahu plan to go, and what would be his message to the world?
There had been talk that maybe he would cancel his trip because of what's going up on the northern border. But right now, I think he's going to go, but he'll have a shortened itinerary. He's going to go there, and he's going to defend Israel's right to defend itself. As you said, Gordon, what other nation would actually allow itself to have 9,000 rockets or more fired into its sovereign territory without defending itself? And some people say this is really where Netanyahu shines, on the world stage and presenting Israel's case to the world. He's done it every year that he's been prime minister. And he also comes at a time, Gordon, when the UN just passed a resolution, the General Assembly, that Jews don't belong in Judea and Samaria or in the old city that's right behind me.
Well, it's an interesting time. It's certainly an interesting time. And it's a challenge for Christians right now that, yes, we have to stand up. So, Chris, I appreciate all the reports. I appreciate how strong you stand with Israel. You're a watchman on the wall. And thanks so much for joining with us.
Thank you, Gordon.
For everyone watching, please pray for Israel. These are incredible times. We're seeing military victories in Gaza, military victories so far with Hezbollah in the north. But on the world stage, it's a very trying time for Israel. And we're seeing protests right here in the United States. So let's pray and let's ask God to intervene and to change hearts. And again, let's stand with Israel.